Good evening. It is 6 o'clock on Monday, December 15th. It is our regularly scheduled Dunwoody City Council meeting, and I call it to order unless there's an objection. Seeing none, this meeting is called to order. Councilman Lautenbacher, can you please lead us in the invocation and the pledge?
Yes, please rise if you are able. At this meeting, help us to make decisions which keep us faithful to our mission and reflect our values. Give us strength to hold to our purpose, wisdom to guide us, and a keen perception to lead us. And above all, keep us charitable as we deliberate. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, it's public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, the cards are on the piano stand back there, and you'll have 3 minutes when I call your name, and we have a session now, a public comment, and a session at the end. Bob Dallas, if you'll approach the microphone, the podium, and you'll have 3 minutes, sir. I don't think we can. Yeah, is the green button on?
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, and happy holidays to you and the City Council. 2 weeks ago, we spoke about two incredible ladies, Joyce Armacher and Lynn Bird, and what they, along with the DHA, many others, did to make Perimeter what it is for us today. And we compared two roads, Ashford Dunwoody and Roswell Road. You look at Perimeter area, it's mostly parkways. Every road has a center line, freedoms, and a lot of things that really make it stand out. Roswell Road, on the other hand, if you look at it from 285 to Mount Vernon, you'll see a whole lot of out parcels with drive-throughs. And I can tell you right now, Sandy Springs is spending tens of millions of dollars to change that to look more like what we have here. We talked about two malls, Perimeter and Gwinnett Place Mall. And if you contrast those two, Gwinnett Place Mall is newer, but today it's declining. Gwinnett County has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to not only buy that mall, but to try to fix up that area to make it look like what we have. And I would say the contrast is this. They have a lot of out parcels with a lot of drive-throughs there. We, on the other hand, have Class A office space, as well as a lot of sit-down restaurants and more to come. So I just want to clarify something that was said last week, and it talked about a bank building and its drive-through. The bank building does not have a drive-through permitted, because when it did have it in the past, it abandoned it by not maintaining that drive-through. And I also want to contrast the difference between a bank drive-through as well as a fast food restaurant drive-through. That's apples and oranges. Even the folks who are pushing for drive-throughs here in Perimeter, their traffic engineers will tell you that the drive-through will produce many more trips. So the other thing I want to note is this. We have a lot of sit-down restaurants here, and if we're going to have competition from extremely profitable drive-throughs, you can anticipate more drive-throughs. And I'll close with this point. You know, if we ask ourselves the question of what's Perimeter going to look like, we've already answered that. A very walkable area. And you heard me say last week, if you build for more cars, you get more cars. If you build for people, you'll get more people. And, you know, it's interesting as I looked up more about some of the drive-throughs that are, you know, coming to our region. Their model is this, drive-through. These are not restaurants with drive-throughs. These are drive-throughs with restaurants. So I ask you today, as you consider any drive-through here at Perimeter, to say no. It's not what we ask for as citizens of Dunwoody. What we have here is incredible. And what you can decide today will last us for generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Ali? I saw you come in, so I know you're here. Approach the microphone, sir, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you, City Council. Before I even start, first, we want to thank you for all the work you guys have done this year. I think we've had a very successful year. If we stop and think a little bit about just kind of the way Dunwoody was last year this time and where we are now, we have not walked. We have just like taken 2 or 3 jumps forward. And it's been delightful. So it's been fantastic, especially with some of the new restaurants, developments. I think looking even at the budgets, different things. I'd say it was a highly successful year. And I want to thank all of you for all the work you've done because obviously there's a lot of work that you do. That stated, looking forward, the main thing I'd probably want to bring to your attention, which I think I've done in the past, is we have a World Cup year. And for any of you who have been trying to get tickets, you've noticed they're incredibly expensive. Everything around the World Cup, just being a big event, is jacked up. There was actually a statistics the other day, I think, congratulating Seattle because no, it was Mexico City because no, Seattle because I think it was their hotels only went up 900%, and that was the lowest out of all the other cities. But point of the story is we have a really unique opportunity come June and July where there will be a lot of activity around the city of Atlanta and the wealth will be able to be spread. I would love if we could maybe come up with a tactical plan how we can grab our own market share of that. I think that will be a great opportunity really to see a lot of the hotel business in Dunwoody as well as mainly the restaurant business take a giant jolt forward, especially in this kind of climate and this environment with noticing restaurants closing left and right. You might see on local Atlanta news media that some of these other restaurants that have been there forever are struggling. If you just go in any restaurant right now, you'll kind of notice that it's not as with the occasional spicier ones, right? The good one, the really good ones, they're all kind of, with the environment kind of, I think, struggling a little bit. So the point of it is if we can figure out some type of tactical plan to maybe help from a city standpoint in advertising Dunwoody itself. I've said many, many times if we can, I don't know, maybe try to figure out a way to use TikTok as to get influencers. That I think will be highly successful. Maybe other type of media avenues that we've not considered would be very, very useful. So that way, ideally, when the World Cup comes and all that business comes and the attraction comes, as people will find their way to Dunwoody, spend the money there, spend the money here, and hopefully that'll be a nice little tax jolt, but also it'll be a really good, healthy kind of push up for the businesses here. The last thing I want to see is this World Cup come here and all these businesses central to Atlanta or the stadium are getting this giant cash inflow and Dunwoody's missed the boat. So I guess the point of the conversation would be if we can come up with some type of tactical way to make us different than all the other cities, there was some type of advertising, something we can do to kind of advertise us better to this type of tournament in this environment so we can capture more of the revenue, that would be ideal. Thank you.
Thank you. Zach Humphreys. Approach the microphone, sir, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council, and happy Hanukkah. As strategic multi-generational community plans for its future, we balance our current need to revitalize an empty and aging property while ensuring the property meets our strategic goals and doesn't sit empty and aging again. I appreciate Zaxby's for their plan to revitalize the old bank on Perimeter Center West and turn it into a flagship restaurant. I welcome them to the Dunwoody community. However, the petition to install a 2-lane drive-through does not meet the community's strategic goals of lower traffic, lower carbon emissions, and greater walkability and biking. But importantly, constructing a drive-through limits the property's potential should the Zaxby's ever close down or change owners. In an inflationary environment and an uncertain economic future, many families are cutting back on fast casual restaurants to save on bills. Restaurants like Chipotle have seen negative same-store sales, and Zaxby's sales increase of 4.4% in 2025 is around that of inflation of chicken of 5.42% in 2024. With a new Raising Cane's restaurant being constructed just down the street, there's no guarantee that the store will survive these upcoming decades, though I certainly hope it does. But if we approve a 2-lane drive-through, and if that store does need to close down or change owners, then we're left with an empty chicken shop with a 2-lane drive-through instead of an empty yet flexible facility, which makes it much harder to find new owners with the double-decker drive-through. It might be a Zaxby's today, but it could be an art studio or a daycare in the future. It's important for government to counteract the short-term profit-motivated interests of outside businesses with long-term strategic thinking. We all want a low-traffic, walkable, bikeable, environmentally friendly city, flexible to the needs of its people. However, a double-decker drive-through is not in the best interest of this community's future. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no more cards for this session of public comment. There'll be another section of public comment after at the end of the meeting. Thank you. All right, next, Mr. Linton, City Manager's report, please.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This is the report ending December 12th, 2025. This will be the last report of the year. We have under parks, as you know, we opened or dedicated the new Veterans Memorial on November the 11th. After the ceremony, we talked a little bit about the engraving brick program is now open on the parks registration site. And that allows the purchase of bricks to honor family members who served or are serving. So please take a look at that program. It's a unique program. With the new memorial, you have opportunities for bricks that are throughout there. There's some existing bricks that we moved from the old facility to this facility, and take a look at that program when you have time. And hopefully you'll buy a brick. Also, through December, we have out front here as a mailbox for letters to seniors and letters to Santa. Also, please write a letter to put in there for seniors so they can keep them from being lonely during this holiday season. We send those out. Also, the holiday lights display continues to run until the beginning part of January. We have January 19th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. We also have the month of February as Black History Month mural exhibit at Brook Run Skate Park. And then followed by, it's turned into a local favorite for everybody on February 7th, the Dog Park Valentine photos, followed by February 20th, the Georgia Arbor Day planting. We did have on December 1st, Art for All art exhibit at Wildcat Park. We have 12 artists that were there and have interactive pieces that are going to be there for the next 2 years. We did get some Atlanta media on that. And the mayor was out there along with several council members, and that is a great art exhibit if you have time to look at it. That's been a big initiative of the city to have that. We also will have 5 murals were selected for the 2026 Black History Month mural exhibit at the Dunwoody Arts Commission. And those will be placed along a fence on the Brook Run Skate Park through the month of February. So those things that are coming up, and I want y'all to take note of that. Also, we have family photos with Santa, or we had that, and that was extended by an hour, and it sold out with 22 families. Here again, another item the Parks Department continues to offer to our community. On police, November 13th, at Dunwoody High School, Chief Carlson met with the Youth City Council, and he spoke about what it takes to become a police officer, what to do if you're pulled over, and programs available for teens that are interested in police work. So it was a good outreach for that, for the high school, especially the part about what to do if you're pulled over. We saw that out here just a moment ago. Not sure how that went, but nonetheless, holiday food drive continues at various locations throughout Dunwoody. Collections continue at police headquarters through the holiday season, so please donate if you have the ability. Also, Dunwoody Police Department's Christmas for Kids private holiday event took place, and that was once again a big success. Watch out as we go through things for package thefts that are occurring. We do have some of those that occur within the city, and not just Dunwoody's not unique on that, but be on the lookout for anything suspicious there. And thank goodness we have people with their cameras, and the Ring cameras can cite those. Please turn them into the police and we'll track those down. The flock hits continue to be a big victory for us with stolen vehicles and things of that nature. We can successfully bring those in. We did have somebody try to steal an ATM over there at the Chase Bank on Mount Vernon Road. We found that on its side. We got over there. There's a full update on the crime stats within this report. And also, one thing I want to mention too is the 18th annual Dunwoody Citizens Police Academy will take place the week of February 3rd through April 21st. And there's a link on our website and also within this report to sign up for that if you desire to do so. Public Works sidewalk ramp upgrades were completed at Ashford Chase neighborhood. We also have the Cherry Hill Path. Tree planting has now been completed. Meadow Lane Streetlight Project. Georgia Power is nearing completion of that project. And of course, that was a council initiative that we had, several people had asked from the community to light that section of road. So that's been being completed. Also, the Happy Hollow sidewalk at Peeler to Kingsland Court. We're beginning right-of-way acquisition for that sidewalk. The under communications, we had coverage in the Atlanta Magazine for Dunwoody events. Also, we had the installation of the Holiday HQ banners and snowflakes, holiday lights promotion, and some other things that were put out there. And our holiday lights this year have been extremely successful. We have like a record crowd over the weekend at the lights at Brook Run. That has been a big hit this year, as I mentioned earlier. And the weather was excellent. I know it's going to be cold the next couple of days, but nice weather is expected again. Also, we had the communications did some videos for during the veterans ceremony and put those out online. And also ribbon cutting. She's always covering that. She and Jennifer and her staff cover those things very well. Moving on to community development, we had the community development department supported Dunwoody homeowners with reduced permit fees for the residential solar installation. The federal subsidy for this expires at the end of the year. So we just wanted to get one last push if anybody wants to try to get their permit in place before the end of the year to beat the clock on those subsidies. Also, economic development continues to work with some of the artists. We also wrapped 5 new traffic signal light boxes as part of the 2025 Green Light Art Program. So that continues to be a success. It looks great throughout the city. Also, we hosted the state and regional economic development partners with Brookhaven and Chamblee. Michael Starlin and his team have done an excellent job to keep Dunwoody on the corporate radar. The next topic is going to be finance. The city received a rebate check from JP Morgan Chase in about $16,500. And as y'all know, we use P cards for most of our items, and we have a very rigorous program to keep P cards in check. And so because we use those exclusively for most of our purchases, it does benefit the city on getting a rebate each year, and that goes back into the general fund. We also signed an agreement with Truist Bank for an ATM, which is going to go out here in the atrium of City Hall. That's important. A lot of our folks who go into the courtroom would like to have the ability to have cash to take. If they pay in cash, they get a discount over the credit card fees. And so they wanted that ability. So we did an agreement with which Truist is our main bank. And so they agreed to put one here in City Hall. Under information technology, our new GIS manager, Dawn Abercrombie, will starting this month for that department. That's a big thing that we brought in-house. And as y'all know, GIS is a huge part of the city operations. Everything from police to planning use GIS in some form or fashion. Municipal court disposed of 382 cases, and 21 cases were reset during the past month. Under human resources, this is the last department I'll report on tonight, is the city filled 13 positions over this period of time, 2 police officers, administrative assistant. Some of these are the ones we brought in, took off contract. They're not new positions. They're ones we brought in-house. Business license specialist, building official, also capital projects manager, city engineer, executive assistant, and a GIS manager, planner, purchasing manager, risk manager, and a senior planner. So that's what we brought in this year. And Nicole and her team have done an excellent job in filling those positions. She kept us all posted, all the staff posted on a daily effort on how those positions are being filled. I want to thank the council again for a great year. 2020 has been a great year for the city. And I want to here again, thank the council for y'all's support. I want to thank my staff for an excellent job and professionalism they've brought to the citizens of the city. We're always here to help, making any improvements we can. We're not perfect, but we strive to be the best. So I'm glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions? Stacy?
And actually, Eric, I don't know if you know, but I guess to Richard or somebody from community development, with the solar panel permitting process, have we had any takers? Have we had any response?
Yes, we've had a few.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Joe, sorry.
This might be there's a procedural one. We had the joint, I'm looking under the clerk's office, but there's meeting minutes. And so the one we had with the joint, Art Commission, City Development Authority Planning, usually when that board or commission meets the subsequent time, then those meeting minutes would be reviewed and potentially approved.
Sure.
This was a pretty much an ad hoc meeting, and it might not happen again. So it's a two-part question. One is, do we publish minutes, and how would those be published? That's part one. Part two is really that was with the ULI and the Dunwoody Village, and I looked at that as more of a action plan. And I understand there might be the regulatory meeting minutes, but I'm really looking forward to seeing
The action.
those next steps. I know we have our
Absolutely.
retreat that will come up forward, but citizens want to see activity, the achievable things. I really appreciate that we were able to do that meeting and elevate that conversation. And now I want to support, things that are actionable, realistic, that we can do
Sure.
as a joint for next steps. So,
Understood.
appreciate that.
I'll
Thanks.
take care of that.
All right,
Thank you.
And last thing, that old Springhouse Lane, I went over by there. I always am amazed by the amount of infrastructure that it takes for these quote unquote, oh, it's just a double wide sidewalk. And I'm geeking out on this. Again, I appreciate the ADA curb air ramps we're retrofitting inside the city, right? This is stuff that we're helping people that may be disabled or sight impaired and so on. So these are really great incremental program changes. I'd like to get a behind the scenes on, especially, moving this retaining wall, moving the stormwater, all those things that take place. It's like, I couldn't geek out on it more so of showing what it takes to do that before, during, and after, because it's all ripped up. And then when it's done, it looks beautiful. And then people don't know what it all really took. It's just maybe a fast forward way of speeding through in a video and showing all these things. It's just amazing that we're doing, right?
Sure.
Projects small and large. So thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Thank you. All right, Mr. Vanicki, you are up next.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. One of the things that the council has started to do over the past few years is a robust multi-day retreat. Instead of just one day, it's multiple days, it's focused, it's planned out. And one of the things we as staff want to do is, at least at the end of the year, give you kind of a recap of things from that retreat. And it's kind of also evolved into other things that have happened throughout the year. And that's what this presentation is about. With today's time constraints, we'd like to keep it a little bit short, but feel free to ask questions as we go along. Kind of doing it area by area. One of the things, staff, when we all got together, that we kind of thought was when we left the retreat, okay, let's see how it goes. And then we've done it twice, and it's considered kind of that really big success story that you didn't think about, was the evolution of Dunwoody 101, a city 101 into a one day with citizens that come in. There's crash courses and all types of things. It seems to fit into the schedules of people as opposed to a multi-week course, which is good in some ways, that can just spend a day getting to know the city or its amenities, what happens here in City Hall and what happens out there. It gave us a list of people, not gave us a list, but we had people that showed up for those events that were people we hadn't seen before or people we don't see regularly. So as far as outreach, it was considered exceptional. Other thing that evolved out of that in the communications department, and this is also in conjunction with Discover Dunwoody Economic Development and multiple other people, is the branding of Dunwoody as Holiday HQ, as you can see throughout the city. Moving on to the public works side, we started to look at this, and instead of we realized that projects got momentum post-retreat. The Chestnut Elementary sidewalk, just to let you know, there's possible grant funding in the pipeline. Michael Smith is more equipped than I am to talk about the details on that if we need to get into it. We looked at installing beacons at Dunwoody Elementary School. We improved 3 other crosswalk locations and signs and striping replacement. We used additional LMIG funding for that throughout the city.
So you installed the beacons in Dunwoody Elementary, not looked into. No, you did. You did. Just want to make sure people know that they're installed. Thank you.
Parks is also where we got the biggest momentum post-retreat. Homecoming Park, and that's a subsequent thing you're going to see on a later slide, is affiliated with finance and capital improvement. We're looking at that and opening the bids for construction there in the first quarter of 2026. We've had multiple discussions about Wildcat. Again, that's the next phase, next step, looking at a phased approach across it. And then also installed sod and equipment at Peachtree Middle School. With the police department, the thing that is almost an ongoing thing daily with police is the use of technology and methods in making Dunwoody a safe community. The drone first responder, we all hear it on the roof or we wave to it as it goes. Sometimes we get to see it that way. The real-time crime center is up and running, gunshot detectors, and the public safety ambassadors, which is one of those things that got started with this council. That is probably a very good success story, again, that you don't see until you see it in action. They're the perfect thing for those type of smaller situations where you don't need a full uniformed officer for there. Going into community development, one of the things we talked about was circulators within the perimeter area. Staff has been working with PCID on this, and they're applying, PCID is applying for a grant from ARC for it. The Georgetown study is underway. We will have a community meeting on January 21st. I think that's correct. And one of the smaller things, a explainer of the tree fund, like we call them, just something that was sent to council in the summer of this year. Now we get to one of the bigger lifts that came out post-retreat, and that was a complete CIP review. During that, we also did in conjunction with the annual budget process. End result was a production of $7.3 million for capital funding. The biggest part of that is the previously mentioned $5 million for Homecoming Park, $800,000 to the police department for various equipment throughout the year. Pedestrian safety, $500,000 invested in that, and $1 million invested in sidewalks in the area. One of the things that was just mentioned just a brief minute ago was the Joint Development Authority City Council retreat. Mr. Starling and I talked about that. He's not in the meeting tonight, but we talked about that. That end product will end up being a deliverable at the next retreat, which is one of the things the City Council has started to do, build upon each retreat with the next one. Some carryovers that are not completed, but we'll get into in 2026 is looking at streetlight districts, creating a unified one, talking about a different way of funding it. Using construction of steel versus wool would be even better. Yeah, that's not happening. The UDC, Unified Development Code, is going to be updated. Do a light update of the transportation plan, and we just I think we've signed the contract with Carl Vinson to review all of our financial policies and rewrite them over the next year. And with that, that's the end of the summary for here.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? John, go ahead.
Thank you, Jay. I'm interested in the Chestnut sidewalk. Tell me more about that. Tell me about the funding. Tell me if we don't get the grant. Tell me if we do get the grant. What's the scope?
Expected that question, and therefore I warned Michael he's going to have to come up after me.
As did I. Thank you.
So we have been notified that we are getting the grant, but we haven't gotten the paperwork yet, which is good. But then there'll have to be a decision made as far the grant is for design and right of way to do the whole corridor up from 285 to Brook Run. And so a decision will have to be made as to whether to wait to do anything out there and do it all part of the grant. Because you're gonna have to tear up, one side of the road and do that work and then come back later and do more work. So I guess that's something for council to decide, but
I would ask that you bring that to us sooner rather than later have that discussion.
Not to be rude and interrupt John, but
Good.
I'm not a fan of awaiting at least to do the segment across from the school. So I'm one vote, but
yeah, and something when we present it that I guess we'll need to talk about is that we had money set aside to do the short sidewalk in the short term, but that money we're gonna have to come up with some money to match the grant. So if you can either move the sidewalk money to match the grant, or we're gonna have to find other money to provide the local match for the grant.
okay, just as soon as you can bring it to us, Eric, we probably need to talk about this.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I'm clear with what the grant would pay for.
The grant for now, the grant is for design and some right of way for doing the path and sidewalk up North Peachtree. There's a path on the school side of the corridor and, redoing the sidewalk on the east side. So the grant would pay for design and right of way for that. It's federal money. So there's
Would pay for the path, the school side. Or the side?
Both
Both.
sides.
Okay.
To design and get right away and then hopefully get construction money down the road, but we're gonna have to provide a local match for that.
And that would be right away acquisition, like we could use it to, if we had to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Which we don't expect that there's gonna be a lot of right away with that, but it would cover some of that too.
Okay, thank you.
When you present it, could you do a hybrid option too, where we want to move forward as soon as possible with the sidewalk that, we said we did the one-time set aside of how much money did we do just out of our reserve?
There's 500,000 set aside right
Right.
now. But we're gonna have to pay for design twice essentially if we do the sidewalk first. So we got to figure out, where all the money's coming from, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Rob?
Just a quick question, and may not be able to answer it today, but I would love an update on the, how well the sod is holding up at the middle school field. Since we've kind of finished the fall and the summer, after that work.
We will get you an
I
update.
appreciate that.
Stacy?
Just a comment on something that we had for Public Works with the signs and the striping replacement. I mean, I kind of remember back at the retreat and we're talking about how it's dark, we need better lights in the roads and whatever. And I kind of thought that was funny until I was driving on Tilly Mill after it'd been repaved and with the new illumination, it's a game changer. So thank you for bringing that to us. And it does make a world of difference. It really does.
Tom?
Yeah, this is more just a excuse me, a comment on the shuttle circulators that we're talking about in the perimeter area. I know that I believe it was Cumberland in Cobb County, and I don't know who was the recipient, but they just recently received a pretty substantial federal grant from the Federal Transportation Administration, something to do with low emissions. So might be worth looking at what
We'll
they
check.
did and see if it's applicable for us.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Moved by Joe. I need a
Second.
second. Second by Tom. Any further discussion or questions? I call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. That passes unanimously. Mr. Ezell, you are next.
Mr. Ezell.
Mhm.
I've always been Ray. Now I'm Mr. Ezell. Well, good. Well, thank you all. Always appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate the support we have from the city council. Wanted to make sure everybody knew we have a couple of our team members here. Mark Galvin, you all know. We've got Ashley and Zoe, who's on our marketing team. John, Ashley is as big a Portela fan as you are, two Chicago folks. So very fortunate. Yeah, very fortunate. We have the best marketing team in the state. We're the envy of a lot of DMOs. So excited to have them here. So let's see. So I'm going to go through, talk a little bit about the history. As always, you can interrupt me and ask any questions. So here's where we are. So in 2025, we're going to finish with 525,360 room nights compared to 512,000 last year. We do have another hotel, so it's not as strong as I had hoped, but we're still doing well, especially within the economy and how the industry is doing overall. From a revenue standpoint, we're going to finish with just under $75 million in hotel room revenue. As you can see, good progression over the years doing that. How do we rank? So this is through September 30th. Out of the 15 Atlanta submarkets, Dunwoody is still third in occupancy at 66%, third in average rate at 144, and third in revenue per available room at 95.72. So we're still very strong in the market. Again, with the average rate and RevPAR, we're only behind the Central Business District and Buckhead in the rates. We're behind Sandy Springs in occupancy, but their hotel rooms average about 110 rooms less than ours does. So it's skewed a little bit there. Fair share, 100 means we're getting our fair share of the business coming into the perimeter market. Through September, we're at a 103.7 in occupancy fair share. From RevPAR, we're 144. So very strong. The hotels are very happy with that. Weekday, weekend business. Through September, our weekday, and weekday is defined Sunday through Thursday, so it's skewed a little bit because there's 52 Sunday nights, which are a challenge, but we're running about 65% occupancy on the weekdays. You can see Tuesday and Wednesdays are far and away our strongest days of the week on the weekdays. For weekends, we're just under 70%. So we're having strong weekends. Friday night it's always extremely strong. Tuesday is our strongest night of the week. So we're constantly looking at how do we shift, getting people to stay longer here in Dunwoody. This is just something to see how the reservations are made. So booking through the brand reservation sites, that's 31% of our reservations. The GDS Global Distribution Center system is almost 18%. That's where a lot of business travel books through the GDS or through brand.com. Our group business group business within the industry started declining August of 2024. So, and it's continued to be down. So our group is down, but our hotels got more aggressive with the online travel agencies, the Expedia, the hotels.com, booking.com, which helped us grow the revenue, even though our group declined. From a sales, MJ's at another meeting. He hates that he couldn't be here. From a group standpoint, our group room nights will drop this year to about 105,000. We did 118,000. We're still doing better than the other submarkets in Metro Atlanta with group business. Again, group's been declining for 15 months. So we're dealing through that. With the strategy, I had a chance to talk to Ali a little bit about the World Cup. We're excited. Probably saw me run to get him. From a sales standpoint, MJ has been meeting with a lot of international tour operators for the countries that we're working with. We're aggressive. We can talk a little bit about marketing. We're aggressively right now, we're advertising in Argentina, Spain, Mexico, some of those other areas. What's exciting is with our new website, if we advertise in Brazil in Portuguese, the ad will be in Portuguese. When they click on the ad, it will go to our website automatically in that language. So we've got, we know we've got Spain, which will be here at least twice. So we're aggressive with Spain. It appears that we may get England for that next knockout round, and then hopefully Argentina after that. But we're going to adapt and adjust based upon how the World Cup goes. One of the things I was explaining, July was a 75% occupancy month last year. So our hotels have to make sure they're not pushing out their traditional business and taking that. So we're working very closely with them, being very aggressive. But going through a lot of the stuff that he's doing, trying to drive more and more group business. I know, everybody would like to hear some of the groups that we have already booked in 2026, dental infection control boot camp meeting. The National Bowling Association that we had here 2 or 3 years ago that had not been to the Atlanta area in 45 years. Now we've got them back for a second time, and we're bidding on 2 more years in the future. So a lot of exciting groups. We go through marketing. Mark is here if he wants to talk about a little bit of the stuff that we're doing in marketing. He's proud of what we're doing with community engagement. So I'm going to let Mark share a little bit here.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you guys. I like that jacket. So what we're doing in Discover Dunwoody is, because of our board, we're very interested in engaging with the community much more than we have in the past. A lot of the things like Bill Grant, all of you probably know Bill, he always says, nobody in Dunwoody knows what you guys are doing. So we have 51 different initiatives where we're engaging with the community, from Rotary to Leadership Perimeter to the Chamber to all the other programs that are in and around the city. We're very involved there. We have a new program where you can book rooms directly at our hotels with a group called ARES. And we've done a unique thing with ARES, and this is complimentary of what's going on with the World Cup, where we can book a room on ARES and we give a benefit to a group in Atlanta called Passion Soccer. This is a group that started with an Argentinian soccer coach. So we're able to support this nonprofit by getting folks to book rooms in Dunwoody. So we're excited about that. We have a brand new website we launched this year. I will tell you right now, any of you interested in digital marketing, it is a tough time to have a website these days because traffic is down because this little thing called AI started about this time last year. So we're working hard in getting that traffic to the website, and we've been successful with some of our marketing partners. And finally, our social media engagement is very exciting. I think was it Madison sent an email that we hit how many followers on Instagram, ladies? Was it 35,000? 25,000? So we're up to 25,000 followers on Instagram. That's very impressive because all those are organic. We did not pay for any of those followers, which makes a big difference on the way people engage with our content. So as you see here, here's the marketing plan. We're always interested in booking hotel rooms first, so we're focused there. We're doing a lot of interesting in-house in-person events, including something called the Perimeter Executive Administrators Collective. We call that PEAK. We're getting together with executive administrators, administrative assistants, once a quarter to make sure they know about all the things that we're doing in and around Dunwoody and how we can be a source and help them book their rooms in Dunwoody. We have more enhancements to the website. We're adding a chat bot to the website. We're very excited about that. And we're also adding an AI component, which will add events that are happening in Dunwoody, but are not submitted to us so that we can really create a much more events centric website to serve the community. And finally, we're doing a lot of interesting work with Gray Television and Market Wake. Gray is the owner, or they operate the Telemundo stations in the Southeast. They also have a digital market, a destination marketing group that has, I'm going to tell you what, I'm very impressed with Gray. They show up in robust ways. We're spending the same amount with them as we did with a previous vendor, but they're doing things like producing in-house or in-city commercials. They were in and around the city creating brand new content for us, and it's at the same price. So we're very excited about that, and they're doing a robust job. And this is the last thing I want to share with you. This is our new creative group. We are going to be in a magazine that Atlanta Magazine produces. It's designed to be a piece that folks hold on to year round, and it's focused on restaurants. This piece, I wanted them to create something that focuses on people in Dunwoody and not necessarily. You can always see photos of food, right? And food is while it's appealing and it can look great, I'm much more interested in showing the great locations of people having great time in Dunwoody. And so this tagline, as you see here, Dunwoody is delicious, drives people to the website, lets them learn more. So we're very excited about that. Henry, I think that's it. Yes, that is it. Questions about marketing before I leave?
Or anything historical?
Thank you.
So, well, good. So we'll go through here. So here's our budget. So really looking at a 2.6% revenue increase from 2025 forecast. within the industry, they're talking anywhere from 1% to 3% overall nationwide. So we're a little bit on the high end there, but we feel pretty confident. We kind of worked with all of our hotels when we did this. So as you look, with, 70, we're going to do just under $75 million in hotel revenue, room revenue. We're looking at taking that to 76.7. As you can see, I budget 3%. We get 3.5% of the 8, but some of that is not taxed. So this is just a better way for me to do it. So we're, building that out. And then we have our prepaid OTA revenue and the short-term tax revenue. About 90% of what is classified that we get from Richard from the short term is actually going to hotels. They're just prepaid through hotel.com, Expedia, Booking. So our actual short-term rental is very, very small, but that puts us at just under 2.6 million in revenue for us to spend for the tourism convention trade show marketing aspect. That's how we go here. We're looking at, we budgeted to have an NOI of just $1,200. We're not trying to make money. We're trying to be good stewards and spending it. Right now, we're going to be just under 10,000 for the NOI. We're budgeting 12,650. You can see with the employee expenses, we had an adjustment with some of our junior staff that the board were adamant that we needed to do. We found some savings with on the admin budget. One of our big expenses this year was a larger portion of the new website. We still are going to finish paying for that this year, but it's going to be a much smaller portion. And we increased the marketing budget, especially because of World Cup. We want to make sure we're leaving no stone unturned with that. As you can see from the department budget, 36% from employees, personnel. And again, our employees, you all see the post and all the stuff that they're doing on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Administrative is 27%. Marketing is 27%. Sales is 15.5%. Admin is 20.6%. From the admin portion, the largest portion of that is our rent and the overhead, but platforms, our website platform, our CRM, all of that is the second largest portion. From the marketing standpoint, 77% of our marketing dollars goes toward advertising, whether it's digital, print, social media, very aggressive with that. From a sales standpoint, we do, our goal is to shift business from other markets. So we have a rebate program if we can assist our hotels, and that's the largest part of the sales portion of it. 15% goes to trade shows that we're going or sponsorships with Georgia Society of Association Executive, Meeting Planners International of Georgia. And that's the budget. Tried to be brief. Now I'm here for questions.
Thank you. Questions? John.
Thank you, Ray, for the presentation. Always a pleasure having you. We've talked before. My biggest thing, you do a great job. I trust your board. They set your budget. That works well. You're now in front of us going over everything. Your revenues are going up a little bit. Your employees' expenses are going up. Has the employees' numbers stayed the same? You don't give us that.
The number of employees have stayed the same. One thing we did is we did the survey. The CEO for Market Wake is also on our board and realized that our junior marketing team were drastically underpaid for this industry. So right now, so we were made that adjustment. That's the big part of the payroll. Of course, benefits, health insurance, all of that went up as
No, I get it.
well.
I just want to make sure that I asked that question. But the big thing really is that your administrative expenses have stayed basically the same. They've not gone up very much at all in comparison to your marketing, which has gone big. So again, you're in existence for the marketing, you're pushing the marketing, your expenses for both employees and admin are basically stable to up a little bit. So I'm very happy with what you're giving us for a budget. I'm very happy with the job you do, your board and your staff. And all of the employees do a wonderful job representing us. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Go ahead, Stacy.
I want to delve into the World Cup a little bit more because it's a separate in the budget by revenue source. It's like a separate line item. So, and I just was having fun. I got on my Marriott app. And on the night of June 15th, when Spain is playing Cape Verde, I could stay at the Le Meridian for $438. So I just, how does that work? Like, because the hotels still control their room nights. I mean, are they already all sold out? Like,
No, so
and then it's on this one, the FIFA World Cup incremental, can you explain what that is?
okay, I mean,
I'm just curious, like how the hotels work with the World Cup and are you marketing in Uzbekistan? Because that ought to be interesting.
yeah, so well, and again, we can't be all things to everybody.
Right.
So we're staying focused. One of the reasons that we're excited about working with Gray is they own 48 Telemundo stations and they have relationships throughout. The expectation is 55 to 60% of the attendees to World Cup will be Spanish speaking or Latino. So that's one of the reasons why we're aggressively marketing to the Spanish speaking nations. We're trying to, knowing that we're going to have to adapt and adjust throughout. So we've got some strategies in place, but for example, on Saturday when the schedule was announced and we saw we got 2 games from Spain, the other 3 group stage games are not as exciting. So we immediately shifted some of the strategies to focus on Spain, trying to get more people from Spain coming here. We also last week, and Michael Starling was with us, we hosted the consulates based in Atlanta. We had 34 consulates at Putt Shack talking. So we had a good group of the consulates that we're working through with that. There's not a consulate in from Spain in Atlanta. They're out of Miami, but they have an honorary consulate that we're trying to work with as well. So yeah, the hotels manage the rates. We've tried to encourage them. The challenge is they can't lose the business travel, but are the people who normally would come for business travel, are they going to avoid traveling during this? So same thing with group is trying to manage it the best that we can through that. But yeah, we're going to leave no stone unturned, and we're looking at working at Asher Lane, Park Place, hosting a lot of the watch parties. And we'd like to make sure that we're not forgetting it's the 250th anniversary of Independence Day. So we're looking at tying that in as well. So
Remind me, because the rates are going to be higher during the World Cup. Right. So remind me, is the hotel motel tax a percentage or is it a flat rate?
it's a percentage. So it's 8%. Yeah. So we feel like we're
well then.
Yeah. So we feel like we're being conservative with the budget.
Okay.
We know that you can't, we're in good position because of all of our hotels having access to MARTA, because you're not going to be able to park near what's going to be called Atlanta Stadium instead of Mercedes-Benz. So we're pushing that really, really hard as convenient. We've had numerous conversations with MARTA. MARTA actually has a group of volunteers that they're employees that we're going to bring them to Dunwoody and do a trolley tour so we can let them help us market what's going on in the area. But yeah, the challenge with pricing the rates is it could be, hotels could price themselves out. But that's up to them and they will know it. So on Friday, I will be able to see how many reservations were made for all of our hotels as of Sunday. So only a day after the schedule was announced, and then we'll constantly work with them to make sure that we're as strategic as we can be.
I know you guys have been preparing for the World Cup for a while. I just had some questions. I have no doubt, like it's just going to be a fun, exciting time to be in Dunwoody and Atlanta and host the World Cup, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and the consulates were just so amazed at what's happening at High Street.
Yeah.
They were blown away with that and thinking about coming back again. So we know that, World Cup is just 5 weeks. Our goal is to get folks here that's going to keep coming back. And so we're very excited about that.
Joe, did you have a question?
I got you. Thanks, Ray. I want to make sure everybody level sets about what you're doing now and the difference that's going to happen because we just signed a new MOU on December 1st. Right? So, do you want to paraphrase that, or I've got a couple of different things because I've written the MOU where number one, we don't approve your budget anymore, so we won't need to see this level. It talks about that you'll meet with mayor or council 2 times a year and or on request. So what's your envisioning going forward with the new MOU?
Yeah. So I would love to meet with, each and every, the mayor and the council at once a quarter, individually kind of talk, give people more open, but, I'm flexible. I have been known to provide too much information, too much data. So yeah, I envision, so to paraphrase the MOU that was signed in 2009, the tax rate has changed. So we adjusted that. So that's the main thing. And we just clarified, other not bylaws, but other little bullet points in there where we said, yeah, if the board approves the budget, the autonomous board, it was kind of, well, what happens if the city council doesn't approve it? So that's why we, made that adjustment, which is pretty much standard within the DMO world.
Remind me who appoints members to your board? Because I looked in the MOU and I didn't see the board appointments.
So we have the board is appointed, the city appoints 3 board members. We have 3 hotel board members that we appoint, recommend. We have 3 that are either retail or the merchants. With that, we have somebody from Asher Lane on our board. We have those 3 corporate. We just brought on, starting in 2026, Kathy Manginelli, who's the Chief Talent Officer for TriNet. We also have Brooke from Market Wake. So that's kind of how the board, it's specific, and we have 3 at-large positions as well.
So I just one closing clarifying about the meeting. I appreciate the one-on-ones and so on, but there maybe there's an amendment revised how you meet on a council agenda with some certain things, whether we provide feedback or we hear from you during a public meeting as well.
Yeah.
As part of that, as we move forward, just to level set. And I mentioned this to Mark, if you add the next time you just kind of break down, here's the 8%, and here's the 3 different buckets, right? Just kind of show that flow. Cause I like to level set what is it all about and what sort of can be used for and can't, because most folks aren't familiar.
Yeah, it is something that we've looked, and Mark and I've talked about to really educate folks on where that 8% goes.
Right.
And we have a little animated description on our website. So we do explain it a little bit more on the website, but we want to constantly do it to make it easier and more relevant for everybody.
Right. Thank you, Ray.
Tom.
Thanks, Ray. Just had a quick question. One thing that jumped out at me when I was looking at the report was the room demand and weekday versus weekend. And there's been steady modest increases in the weekday, but the weekend demand has 16 to 17% pre-COVID, post-COVID, and it wasn't just like a blip. It's stayed there. So was that intentional? Were there things that have been done to drive weekend traffic, or what do you attribute that to?
Mark and the marketing team, all of our social media. We made the decision when I got here in 2021 that it really did not make a lot of sense to invest a lot of money in Tennessee and North Carolina trying to get people to vacation in Dunwoody. So what we've done is use our social media and developing all the reels to really drive Metro Atlanta folks. With all of our groups that we're working with, we're aggressive trying to get them to stay longer and linger longer. And the fact that Dunwoody is changing. There's a lot of stuff to do. So people get excited about coming here and shopping, the entertainment options, the culinary options. So we're constantly pushing that. So yeah, we're very, very excited. Yeah, anything that's happening in downtown Atlanta or anywhere off of MARTA, where we aggressively market that to get them to stay in Dunwoody and take MARTA. So there's a lot of little things like we're doing now. One of the things that from a weekday standpoint, Wednesday was a great night, but we fell off. People were not staying as many nights as they did last year, which hurt us a little bit. So we're aggressively looking at correcting that next year.
Yeah, kudos. I mean, your team does a great job, but that was something that was really, really stood out to me, like the huge jump, and then it's maintained at that level. So I really appreciate that.
And I think some of the success, like things we're doing, like with 12 days of Dunwoody, we had how many views do we have for the 12 or almost 40,000 people get involved in the 12 days, and our partners, whether it was the spas or the hotels, they volunteer. They're excited about doing that to get more, help grow the excitement for, being in Dunwoody over the holidays. And then that also transfers into over the weekends.
I was at the mall on Saturday afternoon. I had to go to High Street for a work thing, and I was like, well, I'll go to Sephora, pick up something that my daughter wanted. And I decided that one item was not worth the hour-long line. But the two women, mother and daughter standing behind me, were from South Georgia, and they were up shopping at Perimeter Mall for the weekend, and they had to stay in the line. I was but yeah, the shopping. And so I'm really curious what the numbers will look like, because there was not a parking spot to be had at, like, I always park at the back of the mall by Von Mar. No parking spots. It was absolutely packed. So I'm real curious, like, what's up with the room nights going to look like for the December shopping months.
That I wish I could tell. I know we're trending that we're going to exceed what we budgeted for room nights overall in December. Sometimes it's hard to calculate how many are coming strictly for shopping, but we're really pushing that out enough. So it should be a good December. It's been the last couple of months, not just for Dunwoody or Metro Atlanta. The industry has slowed up the last couple of months, but we were able to forecast that far enough out because we started seeing some signs last October that there was going to be a shift in the industry. So, but I do think, yeah, Perimeter Mall is one of the strongest shopping malls in the Southeast, and they're doing a great job opening a lot of new stores. It's funny, at our marketing meeting today, they were educating me about this new Japanese anime
Is that the Pop one, or is it something else?
Yeah, the Pop. What's it called? Yeah, well, yeah, gotcha.
Pop Shop, yeah.
So, and it's, how do we, I'm amazed that it may be one of the few in the US. So
It's definitely the first in Georgia, I think,
so
but I
that's
could be
one thing-
wrong.
That's one thing we're going to try to do. I think that's what they say it was the first in
in
Georgia.
Georgia.
It may be one of the first or second in the US. So how do we take advantage of that? Is our next opportunity.
Anybody else? So I just want to thank you for your partnership and your initiatives with our holiday headquarters. So my sense is that for the community, this has already been a big success. I hope the hotels are finding some purpose and value in it. The event at Ravinia, they had 600 more reservations than they did a year ago for their Wednesday night event. And they had to cut off, the reservations, but they attribute it to the publicity and the participation in holiday headquarters. We heard earlier that our Parks and Rec Santa photos sold out. They actually had to they added another hour. Dunwoody looks great. The snowflakes look great. And I can't wait to get like the final reports from everybody. But I'm so grateful and appreciative of the work Discover Dunwoody has done, the interaction with the website. And, I take from your website every week and I do a Friday post and I'm getting around 20 to 30,000 views. And I only have 3,000 followers on social media on Facebook, on my professional Facebook page. So clearly people are, diving in and looking for the information. And so I'm very excited, but thank you.
Well, and it's all about content. So our team is great at taking that content and pushing it out in a way that people want to see it. So I think you've all experienced them at a restaurant. It takes forever to eat because
Right.
they set up the shots so much.
And thank you for that reminder because your social media is fantastic. Like the one you just did for Big Play. I mean, you just on all of them, the ice skating one, you're just doing a really good job and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's nice for me to share your content.
It is. So like I
So
say,
thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Ray, because again, this holiday headquarters would not have happened without y'all's participation. And so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Move to approve.
Yes, moved by Joe,
Second.
second by Rob. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. Thank you, Ray. I believe I can do the next one because, Eric, you have an amendment to municipal contract, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. All right, so in 2020, we had Jacobs was part of our contract for the finance department. Since that time, we brought those positions in-house. And the risk manager being one of those positions, which was Jacobs during 2020, that was a new position at the time for risk management. It's something that we've come to find it's more of a full-time position to have a risk manager. They work very closely with Ken Bernard and his office to help eliminate risk within the city. It was something that we needed from our insurance company as well. Since that time, so we hired a new risk manager. We brought that in-house, but it left a deficit within the purchasing department which is part of finance. I'm gonna ask John Gates to come up to the podium if he would in a minute. I'm gonna talk about a few of the things as well, because this position that I'm asking for would be under the Lowe contract. Once again, Jacobs is now gone. Lowe is one of our remaining contractors. So I've asked to put this position under Lowe. That's what this memo talks about. But some of the things that they would help with, they would help John with bid openings. And as we know, Mr. Gates has performed a one-person purchasing department for many years, and purchasing rules and regulations and things continue to expand for things like the SAVE and E-Verify, state reporting. That's a newer thing that didn't exist when we became a city. GCIC, crime information compliance. This person would help with that as well. Also, they would draft and publish solicitations for invitations to bid, RFQ, RFPs, create and modify and adjust existing purchase orders. Basically, would be John's right-hand person. And what was the new information to me a little bit was all the work that John had been doing with the incumbent position that's there now, one of the Jacob employees, to train them over the past year and a half in purchasing. So this person has become certified, and excuse me, John, that's why I wanted you to talk a little bit more about the certifications the person has achieved and how you see them integrating within your department.
Yes, of course, we're talking about the person is Chris Murphy, who has that position. And he has become, within the last year, he's become a certified procurement professional. And the designation is CPP. So he's done a lot. Our finance director has given him a lot of challenges in terms of working with the Tyler system. So he's very involved in the financial division in terms of providing various information. He's involved with the smart data system, which is JP Morgan Chase. So he's getting well-rounded, and he is now an asset, to this government. And as I was telling the city manager, unfortunately, I won't be around forever. And so we need to prepare someone who can step in and provide us what I call the Dunwoody way of doing business. And also one of the additional challenges that we've had through Mr. Bernard, our city attorney, he has us examining our contracts a lot more in detail than we were previously. So that's taken up a third of a person at least to make sure that things are right and according to his protocol and direction. So hopefully you'll look favorably upon the city manager's request.
All right. Any questions or comments? John.
Thank you. I think this is for Eric. Eric, I'm looking at so this is a contract amendment for Lowe in the amount of $170 to add one person. Is it financially viable to go to Lowe? Why is it better to go to Lowe than bring this person in-house? What would the cost be for in-house? Because again, you have the person named. What is the background when this person is, let's say they step away for 3 months, what's the background as far as what service is Lowe going to provide us we're paying a monetary benefit to have Lowe do it, and they're going to provide us a benefit if this person were to ever step away. I don't understand if we have the person named that has the skill set, what are we paying Lowe for versus bringing this person in-house?
Well, no, that's an excellent question. And the main thing I was trying to do for expediency was to bring it through Lowe. We are paying a premium. Now, I will say that because with Lowe, you do have a premium. I think they have a burden rate of 0.68 on top of that, somewhere in that neighborhood. Ours is less than that. So it's certainly this information, it's to the pleasure of the council. It would save us some money if we brought it in-house. There's not a question about that. It's a matter of, I wrote it this way because it's something new and I wanted to design it in a way that we had a little more flexibility. I'm happy with either model. It's an excellent point that you brought up. We can certainly do that, and it would be a cost savings to bring it in-house.
You want to let Joe ask this question I like the idea of cost savings always.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have enough positions in-house now that we have a critical mass of people.
I guess my point was that you have a person named, you know who you're hiring, and what's the benefit that you're paying extra money to Lowe? What do we get out of the service? I don't understand it. So if, Mr. Gates, you are going to work for us forever. You are not leaving. But that being said, if it ever were to happen, I'm guessing this person might step right in. As a city employee, we might be able to combine two positions or backfill you, him, whatever. I'm looking at the cost benefit analysis of going out versus in, and I'm not seeing it going out. But again, I'm happy to hear more.
No. And that's fair. And what we could do, the request, which could just be modified to the addition of if it pleases the council, the addition of a city, because it doesn't require any advertisement, but addition of a city position, for, and I think we call it, John, a buyer/financial analyst to be added to the city budget.
Procurement officer.
Yes, and procurement officer, right. So we can just add that. We can do the fine tuning on that part of it when I get with Nicole, if that's something that y'all would like to do, and we can move in that direction.
Right. So I think in this case, we don't need the amendment to the municipal contract, and you would just bring it back as a budget amendment. I believe is the way we've done adding personnel in the past, I think.
We can certainly do it that way. And Ken, I think on this one, I mean, I don't know, it's up to the pleasure of the council, but you could have a motion from the floor because it's not a public hearing or anything of that nature. That's up to y'all.
There's no motion on the floor.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, what I'm saying is that I don't think we have to do anything tonight for you to, I guess maybe I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, it's not the only thing I was wanting to is I just want to be sure we don't lose the employee and just have a way to retain them because come at the end of the year, they're off the Jacobs contract. That was my only thing because I don't want to leave them in a limbo state.
Yeah, that was actually my question is by delaying, do we cause a problem? So what I'm hearing is if we want to have as an in-house, we should make that decision now so that we can.
Richard, can you help for a second? So it sounds like what needs to happen, this is a new position, you would be adding a new position and amending the budget to cover the totality of the position. Is that correct, Richard?
Yeah, so,
Go
yes,
ahead.
yes.
And I don't see why you can't do it from the floor if you so choose.
And if I can just add, I mean, there's already a dollar amount in here, so it could be up to that, right? With the understanding that would probably come in below.
Right. Well, that number would include the benefits, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
So we've discussed salary with the person. So that with the benefits, and we can keep bringing in less than we would if we put it out.
I'm just
with a
saying that
contract.
the number is not going to be higher than this.
Correct.
with
That's
this
correct.
approach. So we
Yes.
have a number that we can,
Yeah.
that is part of this
That's right.
discussion already is the
That's
point I
right.
was trying to make.
And this would be funded, we budget for full employment during the year, but we never have full employment during the year. This would be funded through savings that we accumulate during the year from full employment and for vacancies during the year. So that's how this would be funded.
So if we read the action item here, and Ken, if you have the memo open, would it just be a motion to strike the words about negotiating an amendment to the low municipal contract?
Here's the
Just
language
striking
here.
the talk about the contract with Lowe's.
Well, I think what you're doing is granting the authority to city manager to establish a position, pay grade, and job description and amending the budget.
Mhm.
And so amending the budget.
I moved to
But
authorize.
John just moved.
Okay,
He said so moved.
yeah, second.
All right. Any further questions or
Let
discussion?
let me just make sure. Richard, are you comfortable with that?
Yes, we can make that happen. That's not a
Okay.
problem. Mhm.
And I'll say that, John, are you comfortable with that as well? Since this is somebody that's going to be working with you and,
Well, absolutely.
okay, making sure. Since we're kind of rushing this change through, I want to make sure everybody at least has a chance to say whoa if
Okay.
something's coming up.
So there's no amendment. It's just a motion. So all in favor, any more questions or discussion? Joe, go ahead.
Just a point of discussion is regarding the budgeting. And it's just like a couple of years ago when we took the ARPA funding to one-time fund additional police. And then in 2026, we found the money and added that. I'd like to see where this, if the budget is for 100% of our positions, then the budget should be for 100% of our positions. So I'd like to see 100% of our positions budgeted. We're not even into 2026. So the shortfall of 170,000, I'd like to see a full budget for 100% of our employees for 2026. Is that a reasonable ask?
I think we already have that. I believe the float that the city manager was talking about was when somebody quits today and it takes 3 weeks to hire somebody, but you have that 3 week of salary, you have that float. So this position would would be funded under the float of employees coming and going and for the short term.
That's correct. And like right now, for example, we have five vacancies within the police department. We have one vacancy as an ambassador. We have something else that may float around through the city, and all that's in the employee portion of it. So that's what I was looking at. It's using that money. It's all employee money to go from within the budget, within the totality of the budget to be used to fund this position.
So for 2026, it's going to look different for this position then. 2027,
Well, 2027, right, 2027, it would become part of your 2027 budget. Yes.
We'd have to budget for it. Go ahead, John.
Madam Mayor, I'd love to have that motion go forward, but as a note to the city manager, I'd also love to have this position come back. The position chart, the salary be updated.
Sure.
And officially be updated in the coming month after this has all been settled in-house. That way we can have a salary chart that's for all city employees. So there's a place on here. So yes,
Okay,
thank you.
will do. Thank you.
Okay. There's anybody else? There's a motion on the floor. I call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you. And Jessica, did you get that? Was John and actually don't even know who seconded it. Stacy. Okay. Right. Whenever you're ready, Jessica, you have to read.
The next item, number 8, is an ordinance to allow a drive-through restaurant at lot parcel 18-349-05002 in consideration of special land use permit case slub 25-02 at 125 Perimeter Center West, Dunwoody, Georgia.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Based on feedback at the December 1st meeting, updates were made to the site plan and conditions for SLUP 25-02. This is for the proposed drive-through at 125 Perimeter Center West. If you recall, this is the project site that is adjacent to where the Chipotle and the Sweet Green are located in the Ashford Lane development. This is the updated site plan. The only difference between this site plan and the site plan you saw at the last meeting is that they have updated the crosswalk based on feedback at the meeting. That crosswalk now does not dead end at the landscape island. It now goes across the landscape island and ramps down to the parking lot to provide a better crossing across that drive aisle. This does require the removal of one surface parking space. And these are the updated conditions. They've been updated based on the specific feedback that we received at the meeting. And that's all been incorporated into this list of conditions. I've highlighted those changes in yellow. The second condition reflects the changes in the crosswalk. 5, 6, 7, and 8 are conditions related to issues that were raised at the last meeting. And we've written these to address those so that if you do choose to approve this, it does reflect the requests that you all made at the last meeting. Condition number 5 relates to the exit in and out of the double drive-through onto the drive aisle. So making that a right only and including a traffic island. Number 6 would limit the primary uses associated with the drive-through to restaurants, banks, dry cleaning, and laundry services, and no other uses would be able to utilize an accessory drive-through at that site. The 7th condition would require them to install a sign related to car idling to prevent that. And the 8th condition relates to traffic management within the site itself. If you guys have specific questions about these updated conditions, both staff and the applicant are available to answer them. Thank you so much.
Okay, any questions? John?
To approve.
Moved to approve by John.
Second.
Second by Catherine. Any further discussion or questions or comments? Joe?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the applicant for their interest in Dunwoody and for engaging thoughtfully in the public review process. My comments tonight are not about the brand or food, but about whether a drive-through is an appropriate use for this specific location. We've heard meaningful feedback from nearby residents who live immediately adjacent to this site, including Angeline and Philip Box and Ronald Knight, who live in the Manhattan. And we've also heard from other Dunwoody residents, including Ann Hicks and Nathan Sparks, who raised broader concerns about drive-through impacts and community directions. Angela and Philip Box, who live in the Manhattan overlooking the property, described this as a very nice and quaint area of Dunwoody and expressed concern that a drive-through would downgrade the character of a place they chose to live in because it felt walkable and people-focused. At the prior meeting and also tonight, we heard Bob Dallas, former chair of the Dunwoody Planning Commission, who spoke from a land use and planning perspective about the incompatibility of drive-throughs in this context. And Zach Humphreys spoke again tonight as well in opposition. Mr. Knight, who lives in the Manhattan, shared that he and his wife were drawn to the area because they, quote, felt safe and enjoyed walking on the streets in the evenings. He also raised concerns about the high level of pedestrian activity here, including families and children, and about the increased late night drive-through traffic that often comes with operations in a drive-through. Importantly, he made clear that he enjoys the restaurant and would support it as a walk-in, people-facing establishment, not just as a drive-through. I also want to note that I personally spend time here in this area and eat lunch here. Based on the parking constraints I've personally observed at lunchtime, I'm concerned that reducing parking from 23 spaces to 4 while adding an 18-car double drive-through will significantly disrupt existing businesses. Today, restaurants like Chipotle, Sweet Green, and Brown Bag Seafood operate successfully without drive-throughs because their business models are designed around walkability and shared parking. So for the record, I do not believe drive-throughs are compatible with this location or the character the city has intentionally cultivated here. They're inherently car-centric, they increase traffic, queuing, and vehicle circulation. And as we know, the special land use permit runs through the property, not the operator, so it could allow any future drive-through restaurant on the site. However, Zaxby's has an opportunity here to be visionary and succeed here without a drive-through, just as neighboring restaurants already do, and Chick-fil-A over in Marta, over in Brookhaven by the Marta. But my opposition is specific and categorical to the drive-through component use in this context, and not as a support for similar uses now or in the future. So with this reasoning, I will be voting no.
Councilwoman Harris, you had a question.
Yeah, I had a question, on the condition point 8. If cars begin stacking outside the designated stacking lanes, the property owner shall provide traffic management staffing that ensures blah, 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 blah. How do we enforce that?
We can't. So unless you all want to hire a code enforcement officer to sit there all day and monitor the situation.
I guess they could self-regulate. The business could choose to, or the landlord could choose.
Yeah.
Does the applicant have anything to add to that?
Kathy's not here.
Kathy's not here.
Good evening. My name is Alex Brock with Smith Cambrell Russell, here on behalf of the applicant Zaxby's. Tonight, joining me, I have representatives from Zaxby's as well as CTO Realty Growth, and this would be a burden on both Zaxby's as well as CTO itself as the owner of the property. They would self-regulate if there is an issue. CTO can elect to have someone or require Zaxby's to have someone on site to manage the queuing daily to ensure that there is no backup within their site. CTO is invested in the success of Zaxby's and the success of their development, and they're making a significant investment in seeing Zaxby's succeed. And so this issue is both a benefit for CTO as well as Zaxby's to make sure that their queuing works.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments? John.
I'll ask the question on number 7. The applicant shall install a sign in the drive-through communicating that a no car idling policy. The sign should read no idling for longer than 30 seconds. I'm trying to understand that. So if there's going to be a sign that says you have to turn off your vehicle, most new cars sort of self-idle themselves. Wouldn't this problem be self-fixed as years go on? Wouldn't it be fixed automatically? I'm trying to understand that we're going to force a sign for no idling for longer than 30 seconds when, every other drive-through, as far as I know, does not require that sign. And
I think someone just asked for that at the last meeting, and who's talking? I can't. I'm from the city. Madeline, thank you. Madeline may want to address how, but I think it's because somebody from the council asked for it.
Yes, that was a specific request at the last meeting.
Right.
So we incorporated that. We wanted to make sure we incorporated all the feedback
And I'm
received.
guessing the applicant was fine with adding one more sign if they could get this approved. I'm guessing they're nodding in improvement, but then again, I guess the Dunwoody Homeowners Association would put those signs up on the side of Mount Vernon during the parade if there's ever a backup,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. I just see that as a silly requirement personally. I'm willing if the applicant wants it and other council members want it. I'm happy to go forward and put this in. I just think it's silly. Personal.
It's another one.
Councilman Hannigan, we put that in specifically at Councilman Second's request.
Yes, they put it because someone asked on this board.
Mayor, can I clarify something
Yes.
real quick? Richard, so the record is clean. We do have a mechanism of pulling SLUPs when someone violates a condition. What Richard was referring to is the manpower to monitor it 24/7 when we're talking about condition 8. It would be the onus on the applicant to comply with the conditions. Otherwise, we would go through the process of pulling the SLUP. But I want to make sure I'm right, Richard, so that we're clear. I understood what you were saying. I just want to make sure the record understands what you were saying.
So.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to go further down that path, that if the backup just becomes a nuisance, and then they're not self-regulating, who then would do the process of taking away their SLUP? Like, how does that even work?
So we would bring it back to you all and you all would have to revoke it. Yeah. My understanding is that if it was reported to us violation, it would either go to the court, which they can't change it, the zoning, so it would have to come back to you and you all could revoke it.
There would be a process, due process. You can't just unilaterally without giving notice. It'd have to be documented. It'd have to be, I mean, there's a process involved. It's not just come here and say, all right, done, because we got mad because one person called. What I think Richard's talking about is a little bit different, and that is they don't have the staff to be able to fully report to you the conditions at any place 24/7.
Yeah, we only have 3 code enforcement officers and it would take someone.
Right. I'm guessing this would be,
I'm sorry.
and I'm guessing that if something were to happen, it would be complaint driven. I think we're worrying about something that's whatever.
I understand the complaint driven. I understand code enforcement. I'm just questioning a point that just might not be enforceable. That is my
Right, no,
question.
I
Like
don't
how
disagree.
we're putting in a condition that may or may not be enforceable. That is my question.
Right. This is all amendable, people. I mean, you can you can introduce an amendment to take something out if you want.
Just for point, the applicant is fine with the current conditions as published, correct?
Correct.
Kathy just said she is. Yes, she did.
Yes.
That is correct. We're in agreement with staff's conditions.
Okay. All right, we have, oh, sorry, Rob.
I'm just gonna say, I can't say it quite as eloquently or as detailed as what Joe said, but I'm taking a step back. We have existing zoning in this area for a reason, to guide the development of it to be the way we want it to be. And I don't see anything unique or special about this SLUP request that would lead me to go against the existing zoning. So I will also be voting against it.
Okay. Is that any more comments or questions? I call the question. All in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, maybe do it by hands. All right, that's 3. It's Council, did you say Lambert, Lautenbacher, and Hennigan voted yes. All opposed, say no. 2, 3, 4. The motion fails. Thank you. All right. Next is Chief Carlson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Coming before you again with another MOU between, it's going to be Edens, which is 4505 Ashford Dunwoody Road, with them sharing their camera systems with us so we can have access to it through our real-time crime center.
Mayor, can I interrupt?
Yes.
On the last application,
Uh-huh.
the motion to approve failed, but you would need another motion to deny per Richard.
Oh, so we need a
So we're
motion
still on
to.
the record on the last.
Okay, sorry, Chief.
Sorry.
So under zoning law, if you're denying it, you have to have a motion to deny.
Yeah, you need a motion
have
to
vote
deny
twice.
per Richard.
Does that include the reason why? In other words, there's a number of reasons that we're allowed to deny. Do you have to
just
state?
need to make a motion
Just need to
now.
make a motion.
Somebody has to make a motion to deny the application.
Move to deny.
Second.
Moved by Rob Price, second by Joe Seconder. All in favor of the motion to deny, say aye. Raise your hand. All right. Okay. Oh, did you raise your hand? Okay. That would be Councilman Price, Mayor Deutsch, Councilwoman Harris, and Councilman Seconder voted to deny the application. All opposed, raise your hand. Councilman Lambert, Councilman Lautenbacher, and Councilman Hennigan. Trying to confuse me. So the motion to deny passes. Is that correct?
4-3.
4-3. Is that correct, Richard? Thank you. Thank you, applicant, for taking the time to invest in spending the time and investigating our community. And as a reminder, I do believe it can still be a restaurant, just without a draft. Is that correct?
What was the amendment? There was an amendment to the original. Yeah, just, is there a motion? Motion to deny the amendment would have taken there, and then you wouldn't have the second vote.
All right. Go ahead, Chief.
Okay. Once again, good evening, Mayor and Council. This is another MOU to share cameras. This is going to be with the property down here at 4505 Ashford Dunwoody Road. This is just authorizing, they are authorizing us to utilize their cameras for our real-time crime center. Once again, these are not recorded. This, the video is not being recorded. It's not being retained. We would just have access to it real time in a real-time crime center. So this is very similar to the Georgia State University MOU that you approved 2 weeks ago.
All right. Go ahead, Catherine.
Chief, what does it mean to access their real-time cameras? Is it by request or? could
No,
you just get it?
no, we'll just have a live feed so we can pull it up onto our real-time crime center. So the way the Flock operating OS, which is our real-time crime center platform, there's a way for us to link in. So if we have a critical incident there, we're able to pull up their cameras over there and project it on our screens here back at the PD.
All right, so it's full-time
Yes, ma'am.
monitoring.
Yes, ma'am.
If you wanted. Okay, thank you.
Move to approve.
Moved by Joe,
Second.
second by Tom. Any further discussion, John?
Just ask a couple more questions regarding, Chief, where else are these camera agreements in place? What other cameras are we watching? And what are we doing to get more of them if that's the way we're moving forward?
So right now, a lot of our agreements have gone through. It's kind of a slow process, just getting our MOUs. Everybody that we've approached has been in agreement with it. That's the mall, Georgia State University, and now 4505 Ashford Dunwoody. I don't have a list of all the cameras that we have access to. I can get that. My plan is to get a Flock representative here. We've sent the request out per you, ma'am, Councilmember Lautenbacher. So we've got to request that. I was going to get that individual here next month, just to kind of explain a little bit more of behind the scenes for Flock. I can get that list of all the cameras that we have access to. We're going to try to get as many as we can. The more cameras that we have on there, obviously, when we have a critical incident, not only are we launching a drone, but we can access their cameras that are on.
The reason I ask is that we've been having this issue for a long time. If you remember, there's something called Iron Sky. We've had video surveillance and cameras in gas stations. DeKalb County has an ordinance that requires all gas stations and convenience stores to have video running all the time. I don't think it's a live feed, but I thought in the past that we had agreements with gas stations and other places to provide that camera feed. They may or may not be available now. I'm just trying to figure out what we have and moving forward, if we need to do the agreements with it. I'm not sure every little gas station needs to come in front of council for an agreement for a contract for the police department to do this, but please do what you need to do and get whatever you need as far as the video surveillance when they are willing to provide you the data. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And I'd also like to work with Ken, possibly on maybe getting a blanket. So I don't have to come, I'm planning on being up here a lot more, and I'm sure all of you so far have been in agreement with us getting the live feeds from these shopping complexes. So I don't know if there's something we can do, Mr. Bernard, to maybe have just like a blanket MOU, and we can just add it to an existing type MOU.
I want to say at one time, Chief Grogan and I worked on something, because I remember looking at this several years ago, but I'm sure that, it's voluntary when it's the private sector. You can't compel it in private spaces, but we can work on something. It may take a little bit of doing, but I'd like to have a standard MOU. Technically, MOUs are not enforceable in Georgia. It's really an agreement.
Okay.
You have to have an agreement, but you're essentially getting permission to do whatever. But I'd like to have a standard one before we get a bunch of different ones all over that have different words in them. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So.
No, we don't have, we have a motion on the table. Okay. Just as a reminder that sometime in the first quarter, you're going to come talk to us about our policy surrounding flock and how using data. And also DeKalb County, the state preempted the gas station rule. They did. Good old legislatures. So with that, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Ginger LePage. And Ginger, if you could start with an explanation about why this is the first time we're seeing this, please.
Yes, ma'am. So good evening, Mayor and Council. So the request is for the council chambers audio-visual upgrades. This is the first time because we just got the proposal back recently from review and everything. And we want to make sure that we get this moving as soon as possible because we are experiencing some issues with the technology in the council chambers right now. So we want to go ahead and get it ordered so that it's not as long of a delay as it might be if we don't go ahead and get this processed and pushed through as soon as possible. So the request here is to authorize the mayor, city manager, or designee to execute all documents necessary to purchase and install the AV equipment and to approve a not to exceed amount of $181,748.44. You will notice that that is a 10% over what the actual proposal is, but that's just to ensure that we have any, contingency in case something else comes that maybe wasn't included in the original proposal. In this proposal, it includes some upgrades as well as just the regular back-end refresh that we need right now for the equipment here. We've added additional displays to the dais so that you guys will be able to see exactly what they see on these TVs instead of it being right now where you're looking at a Zoom meeting that looks different. It's also adding a presenter one. I don't know if you notice when people are presenting and they have to back up to look at the TVs sometimes, so we'll be taking care of that. The audience is going to have additional TVs as well so that they can see from any of the seats in the audience. We're also adding another TV to the entryway. There'll be digital signage kind of to match what we have going on outside, where you'll see the agenda, or for court days, there'll be certain things that'll show up on the digital signage out there. There'll be a mobile cart that we'll be able to pull out for different kinds of meetings to make this room a little more convertible, but also if we have a overage, we would be able to move that mobile cart out into the area out there and it would still be attached so people could see what's going on in here. There's a document camera so that you could see kind of what's on the piece of paper. And one of the things that I'm actually most excited about is a timer, like what you see right here, but instead of it being on the dais, it's actually incorporated into the meeting. And so people at home would actually be able to see what the timer says for public comment and things like that, as well as it showing on all the TVs so that everyone has the visualization of that. And I'll answer any questions.
Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Ginger. I just had one question, really, regarding the tabletop displays for the dais. I know we only have 4 now, but we're only getting 6. We have 7 electeds, plus a city manager, city attorney, and typically 2 clerks. So there's a reason why we're not getting a display for everybody.
So we're still going to leave the computers. So what we found is you guys use the computers for yourselves. Sometimes you pull up your own items. You kind of look at the computer, the agenda items, whatever yourselves. So we want to leave the computers so you guys still have the access to them. And we're going to put the displays in the in-between. They'll be kind of shared a little bit, but it just means that it's not so muddied with displays where you guys have 2 computers each. You'll have the one computer that you can actually work on, and then the display that'll be shared between people.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's been figured out so that everyone would be able to view, everyone that sits up here would have a view.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Joe. Oh, Catherine, go ahead.
All right, so 6 displays plus all these laptops. Nobody, do you all use them? I don't. You mean we use our? Yeah, I mean. Right, but.
Right.
I bring a lot, iPad, we each have our own, I don't know how necessary they are.
If you would prefer, we can do displays for everybody and just cut out the laptops altogether. If that's what you guys want, we can
it's a lot.
definitely do
It's
that.
a very
Yeah,
busy
this is a
place up
lot.
here.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
For sure. I'll
So-
take care of that.
It's a touch screen display.
No. So the way that the displays work
Yep.
is they're actually exactly like a TV.
Like a TV.
So all they are is they will just show you what these TVs are showing.
Okay, so on occasion, we've had a public comment that we've had to kill the Zoom feed. We cannot do it up here, is what you're saying. It would have to be done in the back. Somebody, okay.
Yes.
How long would this equipment be good for?
So it's hard to tell with AV equipment. I would say at minimum 5 years. We might get lucky and be able to hold on to it longer than that. It's really just hard to tell with it in general. But I would say at least 5 years. Maybe we could make it for 10, but
How
I would say
long-
5. is
How long have
ideal.
we had these?
This equipment has been around since it came from the old building.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, and yeah.
Okay, so 6 displays, so you're putting one more on each side, and then there's one at the podium.
There'll be one more here.
Mhm.
There will be added to the dais, so you guys will be able to see. There'll be one in the entryway.
Are you counting those in the 6?
And then 2, so they're counted separate. The 6 are 2 on either side where the audience is, and then these 4.
Okay, I guess it's time. That's what you're stating, that it's time that we get new
Yes.
equipment, because I don't know, it seems to work, but.
We are having stability issues. We're trying to keep it so you guys don't know what's going on, but we are definitely having stability issues on the backside.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Joe, then John.
So thanks, Ginger. Normally, when we see these proposals that staff recommends, we see the other bidders and the scores. Do we have that? How
So-
many bidders do we have?
This was not done with RFP. This was done off a state contract. So the company that's doing it is actually the company that we've tested. We did kind of a test run with. They're the ones that did the council, all the other rooms. We did work with purchasing to ensure we did it in an okay manner. And it's a state contract.
Got it. And so double check the references. Do we know if they've done good work?
Yeah, we've actually used them. So these other conference rooms, we did kind of a test run on some of the smaller projects to make sure that it went well. And so we've also used them, but yes, we did test references before we used them for the conference rooms.
Right. And I do appreciate the staff memo showing the funding is included in the 2026 budget. So I thank you for that note.
Yes.
And the last thing is when we want to dispose of the surplus equipment, I know there's a process, but is there a way that we could donate it to local nonprofits or people at need? How does that disposal?
Mr. Gates.
Does
Mr.
it-
Gates
does it-
walked out. He just
Well, we
stepped
don't have
out.
to answer it now, but it would be nice to hear if there's a way potentially, we have some nonprofit community partners and so on that potentially, yeah, it's I'd like to ask that anyway.
Mhm.
Thanks.
John?
Ginger, I understand what you have in front of us is really for infrastructure here at City Hall. Tell me how this investment will assist those that are watching the meetings at home. How will it assist transparency? Is there anything in the sense of the retention of the meetings? Tell me what you get from from the resident perspective in their house, looking at this purchase.
So I would say from the house, from someone at home, the biggest difference that they'll see is really that the camera is going to be a little different. Right now, there's only about this much of the dais that shows on any camera.
I have a face for radio.
This will be this will be for everyone. So the whole dais will be visible in the new model. It'll have the timer, like I said, so for public comment and things like that. There'll be visibility for the people at home. Right now, when you're watching from home, you can't actually see the timer. And so you don't know, how long it's been for the person that's speaking or anything like that. And then the other thing would be the sound. We are doing some things with the speakers and things like that. There's some feedback that happens sometimes, and you can hear that in the home. And so that will kind of cut back on that.
So the dais will have one main camera, or let's say, is there a main camera and then when Joe speaks, it zooms into Joe, or how does that?
So we're going to do it as a stable camera, but
Oh,
it's
all right.
actually 3 cameras that work together to produce a seamless image that looks like it's one camera.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that we're looking at it from the perspective is what does our residents at home watching these meetings get out of the money? It sounds like there's some improvement to be had, plus it's time with the failing infrastructure, so thank you.
Let me ask one more question for the timing for the public comment. It doesn't seem like anything up here will allow us to hit that timer. Is that correct?
That's correct. It will still be managed by the person sitting where Jessica is right now. So it'll be a single button push basically between the different times, and they'll be able to set the timer and stop the timer.
Jessica will.
Jessica, Sharon, whoever's
Sharon,
sitting at that
whoever's sitting
position
there.
will have access to the control.
Okay, good, thanks.
Go ahead, Stacy.
Move to approve.
Moved by Stacy.
Second.
So does this allow, I know John's question about, so it used to be that we broadcast the meetings like directly from our website. Does this change back to that, or we still will do YouTube and Facebook Live?
This will still be YouTube for recorded and
Okay.
Facebook Live and Zoom. It'll keep the same model.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick question. So are we approving with removing the laptops and do we have to amend anything to get a station, or is that just?
That would be covered under the contingency.
Okay.
Okay. John.
One more question, since we're thinking about the changes. Would any of the changes impact positively or negatively the court operations that also uses this dais?
So we did get the court, we got Norlander in some of the meetings to discuss and make sure that they're covered as well. And so we made sure that the technology will work for them too. And the changes won't affect what they're doing.
Just want to make sure. Thank you.
Anybody else? I call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes unanimously.
Thank
you,
you.
Ginger. And now, Mr. Richard Plato, you can come up and talk to us about external audit services.
Very exciting.
Very.
Looking forward to this all day.
Okay, so 2 slides on external audit. So probably saw this last time for the internal audit. So this time it is the external audit that we are looking to award. Again, internal audit focuses on internal controls, operational efficiency. External audit is an independent third party that focuses on the accuracy and issues an opinion on the accuracy of the city's financial statements. This is a mandatory function that is required for city governments to perform on an annual basis. So we put out the RFP on October 29th. With responses due back in November, and we received 1 response from the incumbent firm, Baldwin Jenkins. Their original agreement expired with the audit that ended December 31st, 2024. So we're asking for a new 5-year agreement.
Richard, you said who did you say you got the bid from? Because I think you said Jenkins.
Malden and Jenkins.
Okay.
It's Malden and Jenkins LLC. Yes, I do have an error on this
Yes.
slide. I do apologize. I just noticed that.
Okay.
It says Nichols Colley there. I did this too fast. That's the internal auditor. When this comes back to you, I promise I will update that to reflect Malden and Jenkins. It is reflected in the memo as well as the technical response that was attached to this agenda item was for Malden and Jenkins. Yes. So I do apologize. I will update the presentation for the next time you see this. But yes, so it'll be a 5-year agreement starting with the 2025 fiscal year 2025 audit through the fiscal year 29 audit. And the price is listed there. That bullet point I do need to update. It says Nichols Colley. That should be Malden and Jenkins. It's $48,000 in 2025 to $54,000 in 2029. And we will make sure to include that within the finance budget each year, these amounts. We are happy with Malden and Jenkins. They performed well. We have a good working relationship with them, and we look forward to working with them again.
Consent.
Yes.
Oh, Catherine has a question. Sorry.
I brought this up in years past. I don't love that it's the same external auditing agency year after year after year. Are there different people that handle this?
So they do rotate through staff on the engagement, yes. So we will get, the partner stays consistent, but the audit manager to audit staff, sometimes we get the same one, but they generally don't do it for 3, 4, 5 years, the same audit. So we do expect some rotation from staff or managers that do it. In terms of government auditing firms, there are not many that specialize in this. There's 3, I think, within the state of Georgia that specialize in it. And as I said, we put it out for bid and we got the one response.
There is a quote near the end of this from a former city council member from the city of Dunwoody. It doesn't say former. The indication is that he's a current city council person. That's page 70.
In the response. Okay.
I would point that out to them.
Okay, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Will do.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Public comments. There are no cards. City manager comments.
Mayor, we will need an executive session for legal.
Okay. Council comments. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah. It's been a rough start, as I'm sure you all know, to Hanukkah, but certainly I speak for my entire community of how grateful we are for the rapid response to ensure the community from the Dunwoody Police Department that they were on it without me even having to text anybody. I got that text early yesterday morning, and so we are grateful for that, and we are grateful from the support of our neighbors. Everyone have a really happy and healthy holidays. John.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One thing I noticed today, there was Good Morning America highlighted a city resident by the name of Christy Betts. She is in charge of a nonprofit called Giving Grace, which helps people with immediate needs, relatively small or moderate needs, whether it's somebody's rent or food or a Christmas toy. But she does outstanding work. And I don't know if she was available for funding through the social stuff that we did in the past, but she is definitely somebody that the city of Dunwoody should be very proud of. She's worked for many years and basically single-handedly runs her own nonprofit, giving away probably millions of dollars from the community. But she was highlighted this morning on Good Morning America. I just wanted to make sure that we send my kudos out to Christy Betts and Giving Grace.
Yes, I want to add to that Christy's foundational goal at Giving Grace is to help people avoid or leave homelessness, which is a proven, the avoiding homelessness, filling in for those small needs is a proven homelessness preventer, right? Somebody needs a new tire and they have to have a new tire to go to work, and they can't get the tire to go to work, and then they can't pay rent. And she really grassroots fundraises to get the tire. And so she does really good, impressive work, and we should recognize her maybe at the January meeting if we think about it. And with that, I need a motion for executive session.
Move to exit the meeting for into executive session for purposes of legal.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Harris, second by Councilman Price. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. We'll be back. Anybody heard?
I think that's yeah, that's a bit.
Right along.
Yeah. No, I think only one that was. No. Yes, they're on. Yeah, go on, everybody. That's me.
You're back online or? Hmm? We're good. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Councilman Lampert, second by Councilman Price. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Meeting is adjourned.
See y'all.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone.